NorCal. 209 King of Comedy. It's Rick without the K. James presents, in my opinion, podcast.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Thank you for watching.
Latino culture and mental health. I wanted to talk about this, especially with you guys, because I feel like that's shunned upon. Like, if you tell your parents, hey, I'm going to go see a psychiatrist. Why, you crazy? Why? And then they start putting the blame on, well, what did I do? How come I didn't? Like, right. You know what I mean? My mom wouldn't, where I'm like, I wanted to talk about it because I think I've shared it before, is all my mom and my aunts and uncles, I won't give any names and shit because my aunts will see this and be like, not me, but all on some kind of med, right? My mom has been committed a couple of times. So when I look at shit like that, I'm like, dude, like, I look at me and my siblings like, who's first, motherfucker? Who's next up in line, right?
Right.
And I think the only thing that keeps me sane is knowing that I don't feel awkward with trying to go get help. Like, if I need help, whatever it is, like, that part of me, I guess I'm just not Hispanic enough. Like, I'm not gonna fucking, if I'm feeling some way, I gotta let somebody know. I've seen the psych. I've talked to people at work normally, you know, being in Department of Corrections, they have a psych doctor, and I'll step into his office or her office and be like, hey, man, I'm going through this. Is there something that I could, you know, and luckily for me, I'm in that career field where I can get that assistance. But I feel like in Latin culture, it just is so shunned upon. And so I couldn't wait to have you two on it because, you know, I will tell you from the moment I've met Jose, seeing your transition, I feel like sometimes you get more and more pissed at the world where I'm like, dude, you're going to be like me if you don't let it out, motherfucker.
You're going to air it out on the planet.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
Like, that I don't think Latin, we're not going to go shoot up schools or nothing.
No,
like that, right?
Never selfish with it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
If I'm
Golf
doing
clubs, maybe.
Yeah.
But,
T-Mobile, Comcast, not
Because we want to know what it is like
the
to
corporate,
spend that energy.
not mom and pop.
if you're
stores.
trying to air out a Verizon, let me fucking know.
Not
hear
the
me
local
now?
store. Yeah, yep. Corporate stores only. Corporate stores
Man,
only.
it's so much of this shit.
Can you hear me now? Second I thought a bad guy. Fuck you,
I'm gonna kick it over
Verizon.
to you first, Jose, because you did mention earlier that you get some help here or there, right?
Yeah.
So one, what makes you want to get the help, and two, how does your family feel about it, and have you even discussed it with your family?
Briefly, I've mentioned it and just kind of like it's just a matter of fact statement. Yeah, talking about like I be in therapy here and there, and that's never really expounded upon it, but been in there. In terms of how I landed there, it was almost like an Antoine Fisher moment, where if you've seen Antoine Fisher,
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, he's fighting everybody on the fucking shipyard, and then they're like, "All right, bro, you need therapy." I was at Cal and. Building a reputation because teachers would be disrespectful of returning the disrespect. So they would kind of try to talk to you foully, tuition $40,000 a year. Hold on, you don't get to talk to me this way. What the fuck? So, you know, I would be cussing out teachers here and there a couple times via email, a couple times in person. So my counselor for my major, she was actually head of a department of a teacher that I cussed out. Me and her she was a white lady who told it like it is. And I was like, what? I can't believe this white. At first, I was like, this white bitch talking to me crazy right now. But then it was like, no, she's telling the truth though. So I appreciate it. So I had cussed out one of the teachers under her department. Reached out to her, and said, yo, I just cussed him out, just so you know. So it ain't. So you don't wake up to a surprise in the morning or whatever. She was like, what? Oh my God! So let me see what I can do. And she spoke to him. She spoke to me. She was like, all right, look, I can get him to give you an incomplete.
Yeah.
Can you just do me a favor and just do one therapy session? After that, you don't have to do it no more. Do it. I did it. It was with a white lady. It was the most terrible experience. It felt like the bitch was judging me the entire time. But I say bitch because in that moment it was hurt. But she also, afterwards, she recommended that a colleague of hers who she thought would be a better fit for me. Met with him. He's also an artist. He's a black dude, so we kind of, in terms of just our positioning in the world, clearly his is a little bit more different than mine. But we had a moment of there's a sector of resignation. So I had talked with him and went to a couple sessions, And it got to the point, like in Antoine Fisher, where it was about to end, and I remember joking in that session, like, man, I feel like Antoine Fisher, like I'm about to tear this shit up right now. Like I can't believe they took my therapy from me. But he was cool enough to where we continue it now. I go ghost for a couple weeks, then I come back. Hey man, what's up? You got a moment? And then we have a session. It's cool. It's pretty cool. It's pretty dope. It's essentially what we do. It's kind of like a life coaching type thing / therapy. And one of the metaphors that we frequently used is like being the phoenix rising out of the ashes, if you will.
Right.
And a lot of our sessions are clearing the chimney of those ashes.
Right.
So
How much older is he than you?
I'm 28. I think he's somewhere in his 40s or just made 40. So at least 12 years.
Yeah.
I asked that because that's the big part that I miss about having Ronnie around. Is I felt like, and I've said it on the podcast in the past, is I feel like every dude should have an older guy around him that has probably been through some shit and seen some shit. And I felt like that's where Ronnie was. Ronnie's a great fucking source of ideas. Does he follow them himself?
Right.
But sometimes you got to hear somebody else tell you that shit.
Yeah.
So I felt like that's what worked for me. So even if I didn't go see an actual therapist, it'd be like, and then he would just relay it back to me. So you want to do, and I'm like, the way you're saying it makes me look fucking retarded. Like,
Yeah.
so sometimes you just need that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to be vocal to somebody else for them to spit it back to you, and you be like, man, okay, yeah.
Calling it back to the beginning of our episode, essentially what Chappelle did with his special. The OG
Put it out there.
is just, bro. Look at what y'all talking about right now. That's essentially what it is.
I think
Simplifying it.
I think it shouldn't. You know, we shouldn't. We should definitely acknowledge the fact that first and foremost, you know, for you guys, for myself, who has seen a therapist before as well, everybody out there who's listening, who's hearing this part of the podcast, it should be recognized that just the simple fact that one considers going to a therapist because they feel like it would be healthy for them to put their paint on a blank canvas, just that alone is a sign of a healthy mind and a strong spirit, somebody who actually wants to get better. Because I feel like the people who don't view it that way, or the people who never even consider that, those are the ones that are struggling. And that goes back to our people. Our people never think about that type of stuff. Our people never, Latinos don't consider the fact that, hey, maybe I really need to just fucking let some shit off my chest. I need to talk to somebody. It'd be good for me. We don't think like that. So we don't think about making ourselves vulnerable, and so that's why everybody should know that if you're even considering that, you're already on the right track, because you're already thinking about the greater implication of like opening up to somebody and getting some shit off your chest. People who don't consider that, they end up suffering.
Yep.
They suffer like a motherfucker.
That shit is a cheat code.
It's not a sign of strength to not want to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a sign of ego.
It's a sign of ego.
Yeah.
It's a sign of ego. And then you should be alarmed.
Yeah.
And be like, whoa, hold on a second. What am I doing to myself? I'm trying to get better.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah, don't self-sabotage, So we should always acknowledge that, like, because that's what gives people the value. People who aren't used to these ideas and who are still trying to warm up to these ideas, it lets them know there's value in trying to do some self-care. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to fucking walk around. It's not a sign of strength or a sign of dominance if you could just carry everything. It's a sign of strength if you can carry everything while acknowledging that, you got some shit to work on. That's a sign of strength.
You watch Lil Dicky?
No, I don't.
No, because his little hype man, Gator, he talks about his fucking bipolarness and shit, and it just kind of reminds me a little bit when you're watching the show, which is a great fucking show, man.
Lil Dicky on FX?
I think I watch it on Hulu, but I think it's on FX.
All right, yeah, I think you're right.
But when he's talking about it, it makes me think about my own. Like, I was there when I saw my mom snap the first time, and it was crazy. We actually lived out here, and my dad was stationed in Alameda, and she got wrongfully terminated in Coast Guard Island. and she kept fighting and fighting and fighting to try to win that lawsuit, spend a bunch of money, and she fucking snapped. Like, she just, I don't even know how to explain it. She didn't sleep for like 3 or 4 days. Finally, she went through it, and as a kid, I want to say I was 14, 15 at the time, to see your own mom having told, you know, we're going to take a little ride, Blanca. We're going to, and then be like, Mom didn't make it home type shit the next day. I look at shit where now I try to have that conversation. And again, sometimes you can't be logical with someone that's illogical, right? But I just try to tell my mom, like, I think her biggest thing sometimes is she doesn't want to be on the medication. And I'm like, Mom, it helps. Like, and this is coming from someone who normally works in behavioral health and shit like that. So there are fucking people that I see walk by and they're fucking zombies. Like, some of the meds are way too much and you can't function on them and shit. But if they're helping, then you figure that out, and you know what's going to work for you and what's not, and you know what your triggers are. And I think that's my mom's biggest thing, though, too, is she's the type where the older I get, the more I realize if you're triggering me to do that shit, then I need to stay the fuck away from my trigger. But my mom goes in it head first, and she wants to, nope, if you're going to piss me off, we're going to see if you can continue to piss me off. And I'm like, you're the only one that's fucking losing it. Like, like, you're the only one. Like I said, we know when my mom's on that ride, and like, if I go visit, I know that there's a ride there. You know, nobody sees it. Is I know my mom will be kind of, she has that bipolar shit to her where she's gonna be happy, and then once she knows I'm leaving, all shit's gonna hit the fan, and something's gonna happen where I'm like, oh God, this is why I don't even come visit. So when people are like, you ain't seen your mom in 5 or 6 years, I'm like, because it's not all good. Like, I know there's gonna be a bad coming.
They don't know the intricacies of it all.
They don't know that I'm gonna get a call from my dad and my mom. Have you seen your mom? She hasn't been around. Like, and you know, just weird shit where I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, I'm dealing with my own shit, and then it makes me feel bad as a son, where you're like, oh, well, you're too busy to listen to what's going on, and I'm like, yeah, I've got to raise my kids too, man.
But so, it must be hard trying to balance that, though, trying to do the right thing as a son, but also understanding that if you get too close, you could end up damaging yourself. You could end up hurting yourself. You know, that I could imagine that's probably like a really tough balance to keep.
I think so, and I think that's where, like, me and my siblings differ. Where, you know, I've had that conversation with my older brother, and he's like, "No, Mom's fine," and it's like, you guys aren't. Where I'm like, "No, dude, like, she's not fine. Sometimes it's okay to say your mom needs some help sometimes," and that's where I differentiate with, especially like my older brother with that. Where I'm like, I'm not gonna say my mom's fucking batshit crazy, but I understand that if she would just go to therapy and stay on the medication that might help her, she would live a healthier fucking lifestyle, man. So, and that's where it just, you know, we'll leave it at that, because I don't want to bore my motherfucking viewers neither.
Well, well, if you said your auntie or your uncles are going to be listening to this shit, they're going to be
oh, Jesus, man, you don't even know. Like,
nah, man, but that's good. That's good. Latinos in general, and just people in general, need to talk about this type of stuff more often. You know, because we gotta game ourselves up, man. Because when the shit hits the fan, and we all got to deal with this shit either with ourselves or with our loved ones, it's nice to know. It's nice to talk about these things so you can kind of like work some shit out beforehand.
Let me finish it with this, because this is why I wanted to bring it up with Latin people, because I've noticed when I'm around white people and they talk about their mental health shit, like, white people are so quick to tell you that they've got a therapist and shit. Like, they don't find no stigma with that shit.
Right.
Like I said, I'm really good friend. Like I said, for them, it's a badge of honor.
No stigma.
That's why I'm saying what I've discovered from doing it. Not the most extensively, but extensively nonetheless. The shit is a cheat code to life. It's literally you're clearing the chimney. Yeah. The chimney. If the chimney gets backed up with soot, it ain't gonna be effective.
Now, it doesn't mean you gotta rely. I mean, like if you're looking for it because you feel like it's gonna help clear the chimney, more power to you. Fucking do that shit.
I'm still the chimney regardless.
But at the same time, though, to appease, you know, the people who are listening to this and saying like, okay, well, I don't want to live my life like that completely. At the same time, though, you don't want it to be a thing. You don't want it to turn into a reliance factor in your life In other words, the goal, I imagine, at least I know the goal for myself. The goal for myself is not only to, get stuff off my chest and have somebody else hear what I have to say and like have a shoulder to lean on, so to speak. But it's also, I'm in the gym in there.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm trying to get better so I can keep myself up.
Yep.
So I can carry myself and carry my weight. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I'm weak because I'm going in there. It just means I'm going somewhere to get stronger.
Tuned up. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there is another side to it, for anybody out there who's thinking that
you have to do the work.
Right. You have to do the work.
Yeah.
You have to do the work.
Boy Charlie Murphy, my main man Rick James. That's the one you think, the comedian Rick James. Get up.
I can't hear my neighbor crying, I can't breathe.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell. Thank you for watching.